By the metric of many groups, it seems like men can't match up. Beyond even the scope of a female perspectives on men and how they measure up, there's the other side. There's many different groups out there and many different philosophies and ideas, but the most interesting one is of ideological suicide, despair, and nihilism in a package, or as it's more commonly known as, the black pill. What is meant by the black pill? The black pill is spun off of the blue pill and red pill concept originating from the Matrix. But the black pill, seemingly, is almost a parody of the idea. One could make any color represent any identity or ideology if they wanted to. But despite the absurdity of choosing colors like this, as if this is a game or the wallpaper for your background, it is a legitimate phrase or idea being represented or being subscribed to by a large number of people, and that number is said to be growing. If the blue pill represents ignorance and the red pill represents the awakening or an awakening, then the black pill is nihilism and despair. But what are the ideals being represented by this specifically? Well, it can be roughly summarized with the phrase, looks is everything. Now, to elaborate further, it's essentially saying your looks is what ultimately determines your value and success in the dating market. But to be specific, the type of looks they typically refer to are the natural predisposed looks of a person, your physical characteristics. Not necessarily your fashion or whatever style you present yourself as, but your natural predisposed genetic dispositions, or your race, as being your key marker for value and success in just your dating prospects. Now, what is meant by looks is everything? This statement could essentially be attacked from many different angles, but why has it so firmly being held to and believed? Looks, undoubtedly, is a major pull to relationships, and that pull can't be disputed, I'd say. What you present as and how you naturally look is often your first factor in success. It's not the only one, but, it's what gets your foot in the door, as some would say. Other factors are valuable, but the flaw of the black pill is to emphasize looks to be the be-all and end-all for dating or just your general success in life. The fixation on certain physical characteristics, like the jaw, for example, is almost a perverse distortion of things where the jaw is your only thing they would represent. If there's one thing you could typically look at, the jaw would be the thing that they agonize quite frequently about, more than other things than just physique. It is a representation of the usual alpha and beta dichotomy being brought out as usual, similar to the weak chin phenomenon in past years. Lack of physical characteristics, or being deficient in some, the typical size, wherever you have it, or height, is usually licensed to be viewed as a subhuman quite often amongst peers and others, let's say. Now, it sounds like defeatism's kind of hard-baked into that philosophy, and it would be fair to say so. The black-minded one would believe that self-improvement does not work, nor it has any particular value to them, and it is a futile effort. Their genetic lottery has been set, and they have not won the jackpot. The game is rigged, as they would often say. To improve your financial standing, you're only paying for scraps and a slightly better chance to be scammed and mooched from. Working out, your mug is still unlovable, and your physique is unreceptive to any serious developments. There is an undeniable factor that many must work harder. Obviously, such a reality is not fair, and that others can achieve things at minimal effort just because of just the hand they've been dealt, but of course that means they themselves have to accept that and make that struggle part of their identity. In many cases, it becomes what ultimately defines them, not reinforces them. Now, one of the biggest and strangest parts of their black pill is their communities. Many could argue that it is the worst part of it. It's the main fixture of it, by all means. Ostracized and unpopular males would typically flock to such communities, as it seems like this is the only place where they can share in their pains or experience with fellow males of a similar situation. It's often characterized as a den of villainy, but most often enough, it's an abusive safe space, ironic as it is. An echo chamber that batters you, like your spouse, but one that will always take you back no matter what. But macabre examples aside, Everything about you is deconstructed and attacked like these circles. Typically, people would rate each other's physiques, appearances, and they would usually find what other sort of vector of appearance usually attack each other from. Maybe, rate each other. It's a very common trend on there, but to them, it's it's almost a science, a strange pseudoscience, but nevertheless, it is. Like crabs in a bucket, they don't want you to leave or change your mindset and improve your situation. They want you in the bucket like the rest of them. Now, how do you become black-pilled? Well, you could live life like anyone else. You typically fall down the rabbit holes like anyone else. It's no surprise that TikTok or whatever social media and algorithm pushes you down a specific direction. In cases in the past, typically you'd end up with the pickup artists or the red pill guys. But now, this is the next step. Insult. Black pill. That's the next step. Or if you're in the modern age, you end up with someone like Tate. Now, what are some other definitions of the term black pill? Now, being black pilled is kind of universal in the sense it just means you have a general sense of despair towards whatever situation, a lack of faith in whatever institution, society, your fellow man, the future. You can be blackpilled on many things. And that sense of hopelessness is often just compounded in that one phrase, right? I mean, for example, I could say I'm blackpilled about my career prospects, especially, let's say, if I'm a liberal arts graduate. This term is evolving, and it's being, you could say, being applied to just generally across society. It's, in a way, leaving its previous habitat of being defined by the dating game and moving into more generally just in the common lexicon alongside terms like red pill and blue pill, because these were meant to be originally in regards to, the dating game and everything like that, but now they've begun to represent society, the structures that within them, some people, terms come and go. New ones are applied over similar concepts and ideas that we've already had before, just to simplify them or maybe mystify them a bit more. See the Matrix. But as these terms evolve, it's nice to sometimes look back and see what it originally looked like and to see how maybe it is evolving, how it's moving. Is to say how long is this black pill phrase going to last? I think it's just going to continue on as it is. It's already a fixture of most common internet speech. Even though it's evolving beyond just simply being defined for what it was, it might meet something completely different in another time. Or, who knows?